the finals of the Sunday Open here in Salt Lake City, Utah.
On the left, William Jensen getting to be on the play, part of the reward for having poor tiebreakers, causing him to have to play in the last round while everybody else drew. Not super important in this matchup. I don't suppose there's no chance. You don't want to draw, right? You want that tempo advantage.
You can't want to draw. The early far seek has got to just be too good.
Yep. Yeah. You got to play first because you want the other person to have to be reacting to you, because if you can ever get ahead,
right,
it's so easy to end up not taking 2/3 of the guy's life total and making him have to start making some real tough decisions.
But I do know what you're saying. The characterization of this matchup is so grindy that an extra card, that doesn't sound half bad when you first suggest it.
Yeah. Plus, there's no chance that this matchup is as play draw dependent as some of the other ones we've seen.
Wow.
Like for instance, anything involving Burning Tree Emissary.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, so we have an all Jund final for this Open, but this morning in our Saturday final, we had the all red green aggro matchup final. I would say in that matchup, going first seemed slightly important in that match.
The Hell Rider mirror match. Yeah.
If I volcanic strength you first, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the people playing Rakdos, Cackler, no, I guess they're not playing Cackler, but people who are playing, 16 haste creatures do not want to be going second in the mirror match.
Yeah.
So, are we seeing a mulligan from Zachary Jeffries? Or is it just more deliberate, as opposed to happy-go-lucky?
I believe it's deliberate shuffling. As you see here on the table, both players actually have copies of their opponent's deck lists, which does happen in the top 8 of most higher level events.
Yeah, it's particularly interesting here because a lot of the other matchups, the sort of pacing of it, whereas here you want to know how many 1s do they have, how many 2s do they have, what are the things they have 1 and 2 of, because you got to memorize it beforehand too. You can't just slow the tournament down constantly checking notes.
Yeah. So interestingly, when they give you your deck list, so you said you get to see them now, but once the game starts, you don't get to see them, right? So I believe you don't get access in the middle of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that we would have seen at this point somebody asking for it, but I'm pretty sure you can only see them between games.
Okay, so there's a little bit of, you have to figure out what's important ahead of time. You can't be like, oh, what are his outs right now? Grabs deck list.
Yeah. Now that said, can't you make a write down on your life total, just notes to yourself at the beginning of the match?
So the impression I've gotten is that with consulting outside notes, as it is legal, you can write your sideboarding plans, is that...
No, I'm just taking notes of things I think they might have at some point. Well, like, for instance, their entire deck list.
I think what you can do, and correct me, and we actually have a judge here, which will, is that you can't write it down before the match. What you can do is look at the deck list, recite it to yourself, and the moment you've said, okay, the game has started, then furiously write down what you remember of their deck list.
So
you can take in-game notes.
Can you have a piece of paper that has a series of random letters, like for instance, D, R, L. Oh no, how about numbers? What if you have a phone number?
Okay.
Are you allowed to write down a phone number
ahead of time?
Yeah.
If you wrote it down ahead of the time, it's notes. You can't bring notes into your match, even if it's a phone number that's secretly in code for something else.
What if you remember a phone number?
That's fine. You can, as long as the notes are not written, then they're not written notes.
Yeah. At this point, I start to wonder, why even bother go to all this trouble? Why not just call the number and, No, I don't know. Like, it seems like, I guess you could just always remember, too. Like, you get to see.
You can just remember their deck list.
All right. It looks like we might be finally moving forward with both players starting at 7. Nice to see. William Jensen leading with a stomping ground.
And Overgrown Tomb followed from Jeffers. We do see the Farseek in Jeffers' hand, but it'll meet a Farseek in Jensen's hand, so both players accelerating. Looks like they're going to accelerate out in their early game here.
Everybody, well, look at this. Perfect mana on both sides. Everybody's going to have all their colors. Nobody's taking any damage. Everybody's going to get all their land untapped. Everybody's Farseeking and accelerating.
Right.
So far, we are seeing the perfect draws out of both players. Although perhaps the slight edge to Zachary, because he also... Wait, no, that's not a Castle Wolf run. Yeah, this is the basically a functionally identical perfect draws from each player. Both players at 7 cards. This is an example of what it's like when both of their decks are operating at a high level.
Right. So neither player yet with a Castle Wolf run in play. We do see in Jeffers' hand, it looks like he has the Olivia, a possible Olivia play on turn 3.
Huntmaster is really the preferred turn 3 play, though, in the mirror match, just because there's so many cards to kill Olivia that early on.
Yeah, it looks like he has both. So he has both Huntmaster and Olivia.
Sick life.
Yeah.
From the looks of it, maybe... Oh, so Huey's leading with Olivia. He doesn't have a Huntmaster. He leads with Olivia, but he does also have a Garruk.
Yeah, he has a Garruk.
He has one more land. He doesn't have another land yet, but if he draws one more, he can get crazy.
Already has his triple green. He has a Doomblade and a Garruk Primal Hunter. In
Looks like
hand.
he also has a Rakdos' return if he can draw a little bit of land.
That could figure to be very important. The
Absolutely.
Farseek into Rakdos return, one of the more powerful things you can do in the mirror here.
But on the other side, Zachary has more land, a better actual mana curve. Plus, he's got a lot of good options in his hand. It looks like he's got at least one Huntmaster. It looks like another some kind of a removal spell on Olivia.
Yep, he has an Olivia, a Huntmaster. I believe he has his own Garruk to go with this too.
But it's not clear he actually has a removal spell for the Olivia, which means that we may see.
Well, we see Bonfire the Damned, so it's not. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's his removal spell.
That's his
Bonfire.
removal spell. That's on 7 that will remove her as long as no other creatures hit the board.
What's interesting though is if he was debating, does he play his own Olivia? Because if Jensen misses a land drop, he can untap and just steal the Olivia.
Right, because she just gains control of target vampire.
Correct.
And with the new legend rule, it's basically the first player to steal it. It just kills the other one. You steal theirs, and you opt to sacrifice
Jensen draws. If Jensen draws a black
doesn't
land,
hit it.
Uh-oh.
Doesn't hit the black land. That's a really, I would say, ballsy play there by Jeffers.
Oh, the Mortars comes down anyway. So Jensen gets a free little +1/+1 and is saved.
How aggressive is that? Just to say, I don't think you have the 5th land.
I mean, he did the math.
I like it. I like
Story
the play.
checks out.
Yeah. I mean, wow.
What else is it gonna do? I mean, most of his other cards, if he just plays him into an Olivia, they're just gonna get destroyed. So at least this way, he gave himself a fighting chance.
So actually, it wasn't a Garruk there. Apologies. His mono green card is Scavenging Ooze. So he's sitting on a hand here of Huntmaster, Scavenging Ooze, Bonfire of the Damned.
And unfortunately, that +1/+1 counter makes it clear that Olivia is
Not
miles from ever getting bonfired, right?
Yeah, he's going to have to find a different kind of answer for Olivia. Because Huey doesn't have the 5th land yet, Jeffers has a little bit of time to find an answer, but once again, is going to need one.
Because he played that Olivia and drew out the Mizzy Mortars, not only is there not a removal spell to use on the Ooze, he can eat the Olivia so that the Ooze is big enough that the Olivia can't destroy it. And with Jensen stuck on mana, he can't actually steal anything yet. But did he just draw a swamp?
And now he has a land.
Yeah, and
for
so
the
now
turn.
he's like, how far can I milk this? What can I do? You know, I don't
Do
want
I even Doomblade it?
Well, yeah, I mean, why not just steal it? Who knows? Maybe
why
not.
Steal it? Why not just make your Garruk?
So many good options for Jensen now. It's all fun and games when one of the junk players is light on land.
All right, so 4 in the air from Olivia puts Jeffers down to 12. Huey did draw his 5th land this turn in the form of a swamp, and now he's going to have a multitude of options to choose from here. I'm sorry, in the form of a woodland cemetery. And we see 2 creatures getting eaten by Scavenging Ooze, or 2, look like just one card getting eaten.
Yep, and part of this is that Olivia is getting even bigger, but also, which means it can't be Mortars now. But also part of it is that now he can threaten to steal the Ooze.
So what we saw there with the 2 mana was he tried to eat the creature on end step. In response, Huey shot it, so that it couldn't get double shot. In response, Jeffers ate the creature again.
Yep.
All right, so Olivia now up to a 5/5. Yeah, really just pulling out of that bonfire range. Jeffers just has to stall until he can find another answer. And yeah, Huey really milking that, as you said. You know, he had the option to make a Garruk that turn and just opted to continue playing with Olivia basically until Zachary finds a way to answer it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're starting to get to a very small number of cards that actually interact with Olivia. He's got 1 Liliana, 2 Dreadbore, 2 Putrefy, and if he works for it, 2 Tragic Slip. Beyond that, he doesn't have any other main deck answers.
All right, so we see Huntmaster the Fells for Zachary. I suppose one of his answers is just ways to stall the Olivia is just to play so many creatures that it'll take Huey a lot of turns to kill and or steal all of them.
It will not take long before Olivia kills in 2 hits, though.
No, very true. On end step, Huey's going to grow the Olivia again to a 6/6, this time turning Huntmaster into a vampire as well.
Absolutely. And he can just steal the Huntmaster and flip it himself.
So he steals it, flips it, then it kills the wolf token.
Sure. All that.
Now that does make the danger right that if Zachary answers for Olivia, that Zachary will have a flipped Huntmaster.
Yep.
So William's going to just go ahead and swing for 6. That puts Zachary down pretty low, and he's going to, on upkeep, with the transform trigger on the stack, steal the Huntmaster.
What a great play.
Really big fan. So Zachary down to 7. Now Huey with the Ravager of the Fells and the Olivia Voldaren facing down this Scavenging Ooze, which, by the way, is also a vampire.
That was such a sick play. Wow.
Draws Woodland Cemetery.
So he's got a bonfire for... No, it doesn't
3
even do anything, though.
for 3.
Bonfire for 3. I guess do you... Now, how's he going to live through the turn?
I mean,
If
the
he attacks
Olivia is
with
a 7.
He packs it in.
Yeah.
We're going to go to game 2. Zachary bringing in, as we discussed, probably acidic, maybe acidic slime, Underworld Connections, Arachnos' Return. Might bring in a Liliana of the Veil, just, you know, from the way that match just played, but it's not usually at its best in the mirror match. What I wonder is, do you think there's any chance he brings in Barter and Blood? Probably not, right?
I can't think so. That doesn't seem... I don't really like Barter.
It kills
in the match.
a Huntmaster.
It kills Huntmaster. It can kill an Olivia. We're going to bring you back to the booth for a second here because we're in the finals. For trivia? It is time for trivia. Yes. This is the big one, though. This is the one that's for a year's worth of Star City Premium. You have a trivia for us?
Yes.
All right.
Who is the author of Michael Flores' new book, the OMG, his ebook, the OMG? Okay. Who is the author of the OMG? If you know the answer, tweet at us at SCG Live.
All right.
And use hashtag SCG Premium.
We're
going with only the most skill testing questions. Yeah. And if you don't know that, let us know who's in Grant's tomb.
Okay, yeah.
but let us know who wrote the OMG.
Standing for the Official Miser's Guide.
The Official Miser's Guide, which is Michael Flores' new book, ebook on Star City Games. It's no,
no, keep going with it. I
don't know, and I'm sure most people on Earth don't know.
Right.
So I think that it is only fitting that we go with such a difficult question for 1 year of premium. Tweet at us at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium, and let us know before the end of this match. But as long as you get your answer in before the end of this match, you'll be in the randomization lottery system type deal, and who knows, somebody's gonna hit the jackpot if anybody knows the answer. Because if nobody knows the answer, we get the premium, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
It is.
Yep,
it is
confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the author of the OMG will get it, whichever. Whoever claims it first.
Okay, so back into the match, we were talking about Zachary Jeffers' sideboard. You talked about he does have the extra acidic slime. I was thinking, you know, we did see Jensen board that in the mirror match, and actually it was pretty effective. Not only is it an answer to Casting Wolf Run, but it's actually this answer to Underworld Connections, which can be really helpful in the mirror as well. So I think we'll see both these acidic slimes come in. We know the one will come in out of Huey's deck. I think both out of Zach Jeffers' deck.
Is it too late to ask people to include the hashtag or to include the author's Twitter handle? There's got to be a way. You know, at this point, the questions. You can do it. Google exists. The information is out there. If you figure out the author, make sure to include his Twitter handle. His Twitter handle.
Okay.
Yeah, his Twitter handle.
And make sure you have the hashtag SCG Premium.
And you gotta have the hashtag.
So there's a lot of things. You gotta have the author.
You barely have room for his name or his ego on there. If
you have to do this in 140 characters.
Absolutely, you have only 140 characters to include at SCG Live, at hashtag SCG Premium, and at the author's name, the author's Twitter handle.
So a pair of stomping grounds start out game 2 here. We see on the play Zachary Jeffers makes a turn 2 Forest, but with no play. Huey on the draw does have the turn 2 Farseek and kind of move ahead in resources here.
Wow, this Farseek's big too because both players showing a lack of black mana.
Right. Huey will now have all his colors set up just fine.
Yeah, he needs a little bit more black mana in order to be able to support things like Liliana or Underworld Connections.
All right.
But there's very few of those even in the deck.
Yeah.
And for stealing with Olivia, more importantly.
Okay, so he needs the double black, but he has the triple green, he has the double red.
Yep.
Does he need double red?
No.
He needs double red. Okay.
No, other than shooting.
Well, he needs triple red if he's playing the mortars.
Yeah, and shooting a few times is always good.
Okay.
So now we've got Casting Wolf Run on Zachary's side, which reveals even more so he does not have black mana.
He hasn't made any plays here. It does look like he has at least one acidic slime, a Garruk, and a Garruk in his hand.
This is going to be a real big turn for Jensen. He has the black mana. He puts the connections on the root bound, and now he's just going to be burying Zachary in card advantage while Zachary's missing land drops. Yeah. William Jensen is a 98.5 to 1 favorite in this match.
Right, so we're doing live odds here. The pendulum just swung really far.
Use the calculator.
Yeah, anyways, we actually just calculated it out right there.
Yeah, it's a mathematical math. So
It's a
Huntmaster of the Fells comes down. This is actually representing 8 damage if Zachary continues to not be able to make any plays.
So you saw Zachary keeping a handful of plenty of good cards in the mirror. He had Acidic Slimes, he had Garruk Primal Hunters, but he only had 3 lands. Huey with the turn 3 Underworld Connections draws 1 card, draws a second one. He's pulling ahead on lands, he's pulling ahead on cards, he's pulling ahead on creatures.
Somebody get Owen Turnwald on the phone. This is going to make his Millennium. And if you want to answer the trivia question, spoiler, you got a very short amount of time to get your answer in.
So now Huey with the Kessig Wolf Run swings the Wolf token. Gonna just go ahead and Wolf Run it for 2, knocking Zachary down to
he doesn't want to do
16.
anything.
No, he wants to flip the Huntmaster and draw more cards.
This is
everything.
This is a savage way. This is a savage way to end the day, to end a very successful weekend.
All right, so Huntmaster flips, turns into Ravager of the Fells. 2 damage to Scavenging Ooze, 2 damage to Zachary Jeffers. He's now down to 14. Draws a card, packs it in. That will be, so 5th time's a charm in the top 8. Huey Jensen winning 2 games to 0. Your Star City Games